They just have to do it.
You have to take the Kai'Sa. But to me, the question for EG now is, what can you slot in for JoJo that can accomplish similar things, right? I think Poppy is fine. Poppy's good and is going to be able to potentially focus on APA if he takes the Trist mid. But do they go Poppy Ahri? That's not really the greatest combo, I don't think. I'm just not sure where JoJo goes.
And I think this will also reveal how much TL needs to see before locking Taric. Because it might be literally just Kai'Sa if we have Trist, then Taric.
It might be. I think they go Sejuani here, though, very likely. Sejuani's up and Poppy got taken. They could go a completely different angle, but I feel like Sejuani, and maybe they go Taric as well, and just do actually flex it down towards bot.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what's the mid laner, right? Are you just going to go back towards Cassio or something blind? Because a lot of APA's picks are more kind of oddball stuff. Nico's up and has been banned earlier, so he could go towards the Nico if they actually do lock this in.
I think that's it. I think you go Taric Nico. Don't want to ban Nico in 4-5. Give APA something he's comfortable with.
Oh, very different angle. So it's going to be Viego. So now likely EG has a couple different options, right? You can try to match picks. You can try to go support here if you really prioritize something like the Rakan, because the Rakan obviously can't be denied by the Poppy. You already grabbed that. The other option is going mid and banning out some protection bans, or going top and doing some protection bans. I think those are both really viable options as well. I actually am a pretty big fan of Azir here. Disengage and poke. Non-committal comps against Taric, to me, are really strong.
Yeah.
And I think that Azir can poke and prod. You have Kai'Sa who can go the AP variant as long as you can get some physical damage in. And that would allow you to be really non-committal. I'm just not sure if they have a physical damage pick through top that is actually going to be a threat.
That's the big thing. I think in theory you can get an Aatrox in there and maybe find some success.
Has to have a good game though.
And then there's still a chance they're up against, or no, they can't be up against Sejuani anymore because Viego is locked in. But in theory, this is a lot better. They're actually able to have things that counter the Taric. And I do actually think Kai'Sa should go Pion.
I do remember, so.
Then we saw Faker do it the very next day.
There you go. Copying insanity, as always.
Yeah. Korea always trying to be like an A.
You're like, where do I go with this?
Yeah, let me just say
I threw you the hot potato.
Let me just, I dropped. I dropped it. It's whatever. That's all right. Anyway, Kennen spanned away, as it has been the 4th or 5th ban pretty much every single game thus far in the series for EG. They do not want to allow Summit to have that. And again, it's a similar philosophy with the Rumble of just trying to keep Summit off of these things that he can have an even more insane lane performance with that still also have huge teamfight presence.
And Revenge almost always is just playing melee champions, right? In the early laning phase against a lot of these melee champions is very difficult going up against that Kennen. Summit is so good in that lane. It is, again, Rell and Rakan banned away here. Nautilus is available if they want to have that pairing. I think Nautilus actually works pretty well here. We got the NACL squad here watching in the crowd. Revenge is robbed of what?
I don't know what he was robbed of, but Summit's the one who robbed him. Like, he's just been absolutely
Summit took his place in All-Pro, he took his gold, he took his tower.
Summit's been taking his lunch money so far in this series, as Unforgiven will lock in the Renata Glask there for Ayla. So it's going to be potentially the Kai'Sa Renata bot lane, unless we see something really wacky.
No, it's got to be Kai'Sa Renata.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a really good pick here. They are light on engage, that's the one thing I will say.
But they're just outrange.
Exactly, outrange and disengage. And that is going to be the difficulty here for TL. Can they find those angles to get in? Because TL is also really light on engage. Great, you have Nico now, but Nico is not a reliable engager unless you can come from a flank or actually surprise them out of a brush or something like that. So will Summit go a pick to actually facilitate ability to kind of have success in this game? It is a good pick into tanks. It is a really powerful matchup, especially if you can get ahead. It can be really, really difficult to actually outdamage the sustain that Aatrox can bring to the table.
Yep.
But that being said, it has been all Summit in that top lane all the time.
It's an opportunity for redemption for Revenge, but at the same time, it will be an absolute condemnation if he ends up completely struggling again, if they end up losing this series, if they end up losing their chance to continue their 2023 season by Revenge not being able to step up here. You know, that's really going to be one of those things that sticks with you.
Absolutely. He's had such a good split.
The Silver Scrapes, or will Team Liquid end it here at a 3-1 score. APA on the Nico. This is a champion that has such explosive potential in the fights. If you can be creative, if you can find your angles, this thing is a game changer.
I will say, a little bit surprised to the Ignite on Ayla. So feeling that they can play really aggressively, I think, in this 2v2. You know, generally Renata is going to go really defensive summoners. If you're playing Cleanse, it's often Cleanse heal down in that bot lane. But he is going Ignite. They do have a double range versus melee support matchup, so they want to see if they can punish CoreJJ on this Taric.
Yeah, and I do think it's pretty risky for TL to dip into the Taric basket again. Nobody plays Taric, right? It's like this CoreJJ signature pick, so you don't get scrim practice against it. What is longer range? It's really their answer to Taric is what EG has come out with in this game 4.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, obviously, Renata is just a way stronger laner than Rakan, right?
Yeah.
You know, that is going to be the biggest difference here is that, you know, when you are playing Taric Trist into the Rakan Kai'Sa, you can get that hard push. Not always the case here against this Renata. We'll see, you know, how this is actually going to go in the 2v2, but EG very clearly want to play it more aggressively. Yeah. They're both going for the, you know, Targon, so it is going to be executes here on both sides, trying to get that push in, and we'll see if they can actually find success.
Yep, they're not afraid to get scrappy here nice and early, trading back and forth already with the autos at level 1. Both of our junglers starting up the top side of the map, going to be pathing towards that bottom lane.
I will say I'm pretty surprised that's actually steel shoulder guards for the Taric. So he went to AD support item here, not the AP one.
All that tells me is he's planning on a level 1 or level 2 fight, having a massive impact in things where he just gets to stand there and auto attack. And if that's not how it plays out, then you're probably going to be wishing you had the other one instead by the time that there's a couple more levels on you. But we can see here with tri-lane view, it's that bottom lane wave, the only one that's really hard shoved in early, as Yeon and CoreJJ will pick up as many of these as they can underneath the turret. Both the other 2 lanes there, the solo lane staying much more neutral, as APA is still pretending to be Tristana.
Yeah, just wants the attack animation there, probably the additional range potentially. But we will see, you know, how that bot lane is going to go. You can tell they were really nervous about potential ganks down towards bot side. They have a pixel ward brush. They double warded both the river and the tri brush down on bot side. So there was also pings from Shaden over on the red buff. They're saying this is where Pyosik should be. They're really trying to cover the play and make sure that it can't make anything happen. And Shaden will get the bad news that this has already been cleared out.
Yep.
Spots that everything is gone.
And now continue their chase. One more auto attack will do it. The bailout ain't gonna bail out anything in first blood for Pyosik. He says thank you very much. And the jungler is off to the races.
I mean, that's Viego way ahead of a Poppy now. By the way, Shaden had to stop his blue buff to run down there and try to help him. So he is still only 3 camps completed here at 4 minutes. Pyosik did 6 camp clear, got a first blood, is gonna double scuttle very likely as well. Viego is comically ahead of where the Poppy is in this game. It is a horrible start for Shaden.
He's even fed his dog 6 more treats. Just the pace that this guy has in the jungle compared to his opponent.
Deserves those treats.
CoreJJ's deserving this engage here too.
Yeah, really good play by Core. He sets everything up. It looked like Yeon actually had that kill, but maybe the Ignite would have taken the credit. So Pyosik jumps forward, tags him again, gets the kill for himself, and really that slingshots him ahead. It would have been nice if they could somehow hand that kill to Tristana, but the Viego's nice as well.
Now I will say, you know, with that kill going to Viego, obviously he's going to be way ahead, but bot lane, yes, you know, is just Yeon getting that assist. Does put even more pressure, though, on Revenge to actually have a good game here. Azir is a champion that is going to be much more about the scaling. Your bot lane has now been put on the back foot here, where Ayla lost his flash and died, so it's much harder to play aggressive now in that matchup. Shaden is behind, so you need some sort of X factor, and potentially that could be Revenge. We'll see if he can really step up when his team needs him most.
Yeah, top lane's pretty even right now. You can see the state of the farm as Pyosik was hanging out there in the Harrowed path, trying to maximize the duration on that one to get a little bit of damage on JoJo, but it doesn't get a whole lot. He'll be pathing back down towards the bottom river now, and the Drake. The control that Yeon and Core have over that 2v2 right now means that they're going to be able to translate.
The player that converts their 14-minute gold lead most often into victories is Yeon. And that's actually not too uncommon for LCS players because AD carries are just really strong. So when Yeon gets ahead, they still end up winning 77% of their games in the 13 games that he's been ahead, and they haven't been a focus on bot lane pretty much at all this series. It's all been about, you know, managing JoJo, maybe snowballing Summit a little bit more, but I think specifically after last game, when Summit was 3-0, but Unforgiven took over, that's a paradigm shift for Team Liquid. They path Pyosik, full clear, top to bottom. They flash, make an early game plan about getting bot lane in control, and they might be trying to win this one through bot.
Exactly. Evil Geniuses were the ones who said, hey, you know what? Playing around bot wins you games of League of Legends. And then Team Liquid had to take a game to realize the same thing. They learned it the hard way, and now they're reading from the same book. Revenge versus Summit on the top side, still saying kind of even, but over in mid, it's APA getting shuffled back by JoJo. Shaden coming in as APA just juked him. Walks off to the side, flashes a couple emotes. Nothing to it.
Really well played with the clone there. Sends the clone one way, sends himself the other. You have to pick which one it's going to be. Was pretty convincing with it, and EG really get nothing from that. Just a little bit of chunk on him, but really not even much damage. Now Pyosik on the invade here. He's 6.
Yeah, the level 6.
JoJo looking for a trade here, does shift in, but very low on mana, so we'll have to reset here pretty quickly. And Pyosik is going to be able to take a freebie on the Herald. They had a ward on it, but nothing they can do as Revenge is getting pushed in again. JoJo's out of mana with no ulti. No ability for them to really challenge here.
Shaden really needs to kind of just find a skirmish to get back in the game because he just can't contest Pyosik wherever he goes. It was Dragon that Pyosik just got to wail on. It was Rift Herald he just got to wail on. That's how much he was ahead. He's been able to spend all this time on these big objectives. And really, like, Dragon and Herald just soloed by jungler speaks to having huge presence in every lane and a large lead for your jungler.
I will say one of the difficulties is where does he really attack? I mean, maybe if he comes in behind Core and Yawn, you can get something done there, but there's little to no gank assist from Ayla and Unforgiven. Top lane, you know, is not really likely to happen here, as Summon is very tanky and has the push the whole time. He did try that look through mid, but Nico also fairly evasive.
Yeah. APA makes it back to mid lane to just keep the farming going here. No mythic items completed for anybody just yet. You can see up in top lane, Summit is having to stop off early for that Thornmail, or Bramblevest, excuse me, component of the Thornmail to make it a little bit more difficult for Revenge to drain tank through him. We talked a little bit in draft about how Aatrox can be very difficult for tanks to deal with just because of the nature of how much he heals once he gets going. And honestly, Revenge is doing solid here in the early laning phase. There's not a whole lot. Herald Charge going to take out that third plate and half of the fourth one. We've still got 3.5 minutes to go before plates fall, so I expect Team Liquid to still try to mine some more money from this over the duration of that one. As APA gets shuffled back by JoJo, Shaden's coming in for the tackle, but APA, again, just finding his exit.
Slippery moves with the clone there. Almost looks like 2 fake outs. Doesn't even have to burn his flash or his ultimate to avoid that gank, and it does set up yet another Drake take for TL.
I mean, that one, honestly, for EG just looks like you're just trying to go for a good trade, practically. Yeah. There's no way you're going to get him. Oh.
Why flash?
Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe he thought he'd get kidnapped into the turret.
Yeah, maybe he thought he was too close. It looked like he was pretty far from that tower, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a, if I get hit by the Q here, he'll do Pathmaker into all out, and then I'm stuck underneath the turret and I get Cassante. But unfortunately, he still gets caught by the Intofo strikes, but he had enough distance that I don't think the WR combo does it from there. Yeah. But no flash available on the Aatrox. Maybe that gives him the opportunity to try to do something top, but I expect everybody to still continue playing around the bottom half of the map in Game 4.
And JoJo a little bit of a bold TP there. Does have crowns, so not going to take a bad trade by any means. And there's not good poke at all on the TL side, so just goes crown first item. Will keep him safe from any potential engage, any potential burst.
I like it in this game.
Yeah, I think it totally makes sense.
And he's already...
Finally, this is what I was talking about. That lack of flash could be what finally brings somebody else here. Revenge tried to fight back. He got Pyosik low, but close doesn't round up. And that's going to be the second kill of the game for Team Liquid.
Nicely done there by TL. Pyosik again getting another kill, pushing up towards top side. That also means you're going to lose at least 1 plate. So it is that advantage being extended here. TL got both the early dragons. They got the Herald. Now looking for APA.
APA committing the flash this time, making sure he stays out. Shaden was coming in with a steadfast presence. They wanted to try to get something, but APA is not going to be too greedy. He gets out.
Yeah, and maybe he didn't have the clone. You know, maybe that's why he actually used it in this case. Shaden was also closer. What they're trying to do is scoop back APA into a wall stun on that Azir ulti, right? But Shaden has not been close enough to actually make it happen in those previous plays. EG, you know, doing fine through bot. Slight lead through mid, has been a little bit of pressure, but it's just not really mattering thus far as TL is taking all the objectives, and it's Pyosik who has really been dominating this game.
Yeah, Pyosik is the majority of their lead. The objectives put TL on a pretty good path towards Dragon Soul, which is a Mountain Soul, pretty strong one. But also, looking at the draft, EG is definitely not out of this because their plan is to make it hard for TL to engage on them. So Azir can keep scaling. Kai'Sa is one of the strongest scaling champions in the game, and even though Revenge did have that one death, he's not nearly as far behind as he was in Game 1. So I'd still give Team Liquid a pretty big edge in terms of winning this game, but EG, if they can remain patient enough and then find the right picks onto APA, who's a pretty low mobility champion, on top of the fact that TL doesn't have great ways of forcing, there may be windows back into this one for EG to force a game.
JoJo and Unforgiven are in good spots, scale incredibly well, as you're saying. So EG just needs to make sure that the lead is not extending, and they are going to have to find a moment to be able to stop these objective stacks. As yeah, TL has kind of the inside track here. This is risky for EG, I feel like.
We got a lot of bodies from both sides hanging around this area. JoJo and Shaden are in the pit. A TP's coming in. EG wants to commit for this, but Unforgiven is fighting Yawn back in the mid lane. He's going to be gunned down by that Tristana. JoJo now jumping in, as they might have the kill on Summit here to start. Nice from EG. That means we've got ourselves a decent-looking fight for them. APA goes in for the ulti, but now it's EG on the counterattack. They knock away the front line. As Yawn's ulti going to try to keep APA alive. Yawn wants to get into the back. Revenge, he gets the bailout, but it's not going to save him. Pyosik goes on a killing spree, and Ayler's going to be the target. JoJo retreats back over the Baron pit wall, and it's a double kill for Pyosik. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got all of them for TL.
TL with a massive fight over by the Herald there. EG got the pick on the Summit, but it didn't matter because Yawn both pushed Unforgiven out and then finds a very aggressive angle, jumping in and focusing down Revenge. A massive play there for TL. It's Pyosik who picks up the kills, but to me, it's Yawn who absolutely made the difference. They're going to get the mid lane tower on him as well. It all started off with this fight on the side. It's off the screen, but he pushes Unforgiven out, then is able to actually wrap around the top side of the pit here and come into the back line of EG. So watch Yawn in this fight.
I think if Unforgiven's a part of this fight, it is very different because you can see it's fairly difficult for TL to actually get engages, but because Yawn jumps in the back, it draws the attention of EG. He's also able to flash a skill shot, get additional damage on Revenge, and really give Pyosik the resets that he needs to go 4-0.
Huge stuff as we've got another fight brewing, this time on the other side of the river. 4,000 gold lead for TL. They want to secure themselves Drake Soul point.
This is a risky fight to take.
Are still set on trying to approach this. Team Liquid with control over the pit right now. APA's off to the side. Revenge wants to find an entry point here over the back side of the Drake pit, but he's got to be careful too. He's on top of a ward. They know where he is.
It's risky for EG to fight, but it's also risky for them not to fight because they'd be giving up the Mountain Soul. So they're just going to start this. They really hope they can get a pick on a straggler, but TL set up pretty well here.
Summit goes in. He's looking for some kind of an engage here, but the Renata ulti over the top is a bit of a problem. Beautiful scoop from JoJo. Yawn is dead. Summit's dead too. Shaden picks up that kill as Pyosik and Core have to run. The Dazzle won't do nothing, and Pyosik gets hit over the wall with the Aatrox Q. Unforgiven's in hot pursuit. And Evil Geniuses just won a hell of a fight, 3-0.
That play from JoJo was massive as we saw Summit flashing in there trying to take JoJo out with the all out, but he had the crown. He's able to survive, and not only that, he scoops in Yawn. They take him out, winning the fight for EG, and Unforgiven is able to get a massive shutdown there off Pyosik. So these carries for EG just got paid. Now significantly ahead here of their counterparts, a slight lead down to that bot lane, but JoJo pulling out ahead. About 600, 700 gold here, working towards that second item. EG have definitely got a shot.
Game-saving, possibly series-saving fight by EG. Now just down 1,500 gold, and JoJo is primed to carry this game on Azir. Watching this fight one more time, his crown had been poked off, so he needs to make sure his engage is exact. I gotta shout out right here, the Renata ultimate really delaying and splitting Team Liquid. Then JoJo picks the side to throw Summit into the, to throw Yawn into the rest of his team and completely turn this game around.
Yeah, I gotta say, EG answered that so well. Shaden also actually stunning up
Yeah.
Summit delaying the ulti from pushing him back in because he had got him with the step-back presence. You called out the ulti from Ayla, making things very difficult. Jojo as well, finding that scoop in onto Yeon, who was a bit out of position there, and that just got so much freedom for Unforgiven, so much freedom for Revenge. Revenge still behind in this game, but he's kind of holding on as much as he needs to. TL, though, down towards bot side with 4. They have the Herald. This tower is gone. Yeah, we'll see if EG can get more, because they need more members to defend this. This is going to be an inhibitor tower as well.
In fact, it is. Hard force. Hard force from Team Liquid, because they know they've got Tristana plus the Herald to get it done. The wave crashing into the tier 3 now. They got it down to 25% HP, but they can't overcommit to this. The wave clear from EG is enough to hold them off.
So where do we go from here? Because Pyosik lost his bounty. His massive lead is pretty much gone. So yes, he's 1,600 gold up on the Poppy, but when he's even gold and behind the gold of the Kai'Sa, he's no longer as effective, and Unforgiven will be closing in on his Mythic next. That's really when he's going to turn on.
I think it's just going to be all about playing for these objectives. That is where TL will have the most success. If they're trying to come front to back, run straight at EG, I think it's incredibly difficult to find that. But if you set up around an objective, there's an ability for APA to potentially come from an angle. There's an ability from someone to come from an angle, and they're going to have to try to find those angles, because especially if Unforgiven goes towards Ludens, which I want to see him do this game, you're just going to be getting outranged, you're going to be getting harassed and poked, and it's going to be TL that has the onus on them to be the ones to engage.
Jojo will continue collecting this side lane experience, solo farming up here. 207 farm on the Azir. A good 20 out ahead of anybody else. The K'Sante and the Kai'Sa, the next two closest to him. Pyosik, of course, still the kill leader in the game, but that gold lead shrinking down significantly compared to what it was earlier. There's 2 minutes until the next Drake spawns. Summit versus Revenge matchup here in the bottom side. You can see Summit still not struggling too much in these, but Revenge at least able to trade back pretty effectively. Unforgiven is rotating over in case it went all the way, but Summit knows better. He'll back up.
Summit and Revenge, I think, are just trading. They're not going to be killing each other. It's more about Jojo and his ability with this Crown Azir to go wherever he wants. And if they ever see a window, he's going to be fine just all in it.
I mean, it's just so hard. You're playing TL as a comp that's low on engage, that has the hard engage. They smited off the crown. They're going to TP and try to get Jojo.
Summit's coming in, but now the Poppy Copter. Oh, it's not going to work. They go all out. They stun up Shaden instead. They need a little bit more damage, and Yeon's going to grab the kill as APA comes over the wall with the Pop Blossom and the lockdown Revenge, but he ain't going to be killed off just yet. He gets back over the wall and stays alive, but Jojo won't. Pyosik gets the kill on the enemy mid laner. It's mid. It's jungle. It's 2 for nothing, and they want even more. Pyosik's going to force Revenge back away, and EG's got to try to move in and stop this Baron.
Unforgiven still here, trying to move in. Sorry, Flowers, take it away.
Ayla's still trying to face check that brush, but he's got to be careful because Summit is waiting. Team Liquid will secure the Baron. EG does not want to overcommit and lose even more. A massive, massive win there for TL.
The timing on the ulti from CoreJJ was also excellent, as Ayla had a big ulti across multiple members, got the hostile takeover across 4 TL members, and that's EG's moment to pile in and try to take them out, and that's what Revenge tried to do, but the Taric ulti was perfectly timed to come down right during that hostile takeover. They accomplished nothing with it, and that initial play on a Jojo ended up being massive. They smited off his crown, they get in on top of him, Pyosik's able to finish him off, and now it is a 5K lead here with the 3rd dragon on the table for TL.
Not really a moment to breathe here, because Team Liquid is going to want first setup on this Drake. It's really about if Jojo can get access to APA rather than APA being able to land a good ultimate. They still have the outrange. EG manages to kind of bully their way in, but they're on
going for the
flip sides of the map. Team Liquid would either be able to take inhib or collapse down on this Drake. Looks like they're giving the Drake and going for the inhib.
I mean, this is really awkward positioning. TL is going to be so far out ahead of the play. The base is really slow from EG.
Huge moves there from TL to just say, you know what? We're not close to the soul anymore anyway. We still only got the 2. Let's just go for the other objectives instead. They get the tier 3 turret. They get the inhibitor bottom lane. They get the tier 2 back in mid. That's a massive gold influx for Team Liquid.
It is a gold influx, but I will say, That is an objective bounty from the Dragon. Shaden may be caught.
Yeah, we got some problems here for APA as JoJo has to escape off the side with his own flash. You can see APA nearly dead, but not quite yet. Shaden can't finish him off. Now they got the EG jungler locked down. Bailout's not going to get him out of anywhere as Yawn gets the kill. Team Liquid, 5v4. Their mid laner's going back to base, but he can use the TP to come back. Unforgiven with a flash away to barely keep himself alive as JoJo's going to be caught over the wall. He somehow escapes with 100.
He's gonna die!
Seven goes into the back and finds him. He's unstoppable. It's Team Liquid. They've killed 3, and they don't want to stop here.
This could actually be it. TL with relentless aggression on this Baron buff. Have minions in the mid lane.
All 5 ready to push. The minions crashing into the tier 3 turret, and it falls. The inhibitor next in their sights. Shaden respawning in 2 seconds. It'll be a 3v5 defense. Summit is low, but everybody else is ready to rock. The first Nexus turret falls as Poppy ejects Cassante away from the fight, but now Shaden's gonna be bursted down. It's a 4v2. Second Nexus turret under pressure. Team Liquid unyielding. They will not stop. They will not end their season today. Team Liquid eliminates Evil Geniuses and guarantees themselves top 4.
What a final team fight there from TL. The explosive shot was on JoJo, so even though he was able to shift out to what looked like safety, he was always going to go down to Yawn there. Gives him the reset, allows them to pile in. EG in the final moments aren't able to make it happen. TL with a massive series win here, guaranteeing themselves a chance at Worlds, guaranteeing themselves top 4, and will continue